Okay, welcome everybody. I am expecting some more people, but hopefully they will join later, and hopefully they have all seen the new link to this webinar. Today we're going to talk about the new tool Wooclap. Wooclap is a tool that's going to be available to Radboud teachers and will be well, we have been using Mentimeter for some years, but Wooclap will be the new tool for interacting in your classes. This is a webinar, so you all are not on camera, and your microphone can't be used unless I turn it on. But if you have any questions, please use the Q&A button in the top of your screen. And my colleague, Peter van der Wolk, he is my assistant today, and he will be glad to answer all the questions or post the questions to me, so I'll answer them. Before I'm going to start with explaining about how Wooclap works, I would like you to go to the Wooclap website and enter the Wooclap code. So please go to wooclap.com and enter the code RUWCLP03. That's Radboud University Wooclap in short. And then I'll show you the first question. And I would like you to answer the first question. You can do this on your phone or on your laptop. So this is to give you a short impression of what Wooclap is and how it looks. Okay, I'll go to the next slide if everyone answered. So please type in your favorite food. I see a lot of Italian food coming by. And apparently there's some cat joining the session. And the final question to start off, please answer if you have used Mentimeter before, so I have an idea about my audience. Okay, I see a lot of people have been using Mentimeter, and 2 people used it a lot. Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to give you a short overview of all the possibilities we have in Wooclap. the new tool. And to start off, first thing I'm going to talk about is how can you get a Wooclap account. A Wooclap account is really easy to do because you don't need any interference from a functional manager, or you don't have to send any emails and requests. I'll sign out and I'll show you. If you're on the start page of Wooclap, that is wooclap.com. I'll do it. Wooclap.com. Then you have here a button that's called sign up. I'm already signed in now, but and I can sign up here with my institution. That is, you just need to enter the Radboud University, and you go to the login screen. And normally, because I'm already logged in with Surf Connect, but normally the first time you have to authenticate yourself with the Surf Connect, and you use your Radboud username and password, and then within a minute you are into Wooclap, and your Wooclap account is already set up. So it's really easy to get into Wooclap. Then when you are into Wooclap, you are on this start screen, and the start screen contains all your what Wooclap calls events. Events is a presentation, and a presentation consists of questions you're going to ask your audience. I already have 3 presentations here, as you can see. This training Wooclap presentation is the one I just showed you, which you answered. And I have some test events here down below. And as you also can see, I have folders here. I can create a folder. So if I have a lot of presentations, I can order my presentations, my events into folders. So it's easy for me to find my presentations. What you do when you create a presentation, you click here on the Create Event button, and it will start with this screen. Here in the top left, there's the title of your event. By default, it calls it My New Event, but that's not very easy to find. It's very general title, so I can change the title. So let's say events for training. I can create, so I can create my own title here. And here in the right hand, there is a code generated automatically by Wooclap. It consists of a random string of letters. But if you want to create your own code, you can also change that. You can click here on the pencil, and let's say it's the Radboud training Wooclap. So you can create your own code as long as the code is unique in the whole system. So if you create a code that's already generated by someone else or within yourself, you get a warning, but you can create any code you like. Down below here, there's a slider, and you see here that you have multiple questions you can ask, or multiple slides you can create for your audience. In total, there are about 19 different options you have to create different types of questions. So let's start off with the multiple choice. Let's say today is the elections of the provinces. So what is the capital of Gelderland? Let's say Apeldoorn, Arnhem, And let's put a third option. So it's really easy. You add oops. Oh, I lost my questions. So you see here, it's really easy to add a question. And in this case, I have a question type multiple choice. I have here 3 answer options, and I have to check which answer is the correct one. So what students will see is the questions, and they can check one of the answer options. Here on the right-hand side, you see several options you have for this question type. For instance, you can set the answer to a chart, to a bar, or you can set it to a word cloud. So with a bar, you have horizontal bars, and with a word cloud, well, you saw that in my start questions, you have several words, and the choice that's made the most, that will be the largest word. Sometimes you have multiple choice questions where there are multiple answers might be correct. So you can set here the multiple answer option. And with most of the question types, you also have a timer. So you can set a limit time in which students have to react or respond to your question. Now you can save this. And you see here that the question is part of my event. What you also see here at the top, I forgot to explain first, is it always, when you create a new event, it always generates a first slide that is how to participate. And the how to participate is the starting slide with the QR code and the website code and the event code. And in this case, I've set the option to, or by default, the option is that people can also send an SMS to this telephone number. But I would suggest turning that off because normally you would only use the web interface for response. I press escape to escape the screen, and now I'm back in my event creation area. Let's use another question, and I'm going to use the label an image option. So I'm going to add an image, and with this image, I'm going to create hotspots, and my attendees, my students, will have to name the hotspots on this image. So let's first upload the image. So I have here an image of the province of Gelderland, and I'm going to say this spot here, that will be the city of Lochem. And let's say here too, that's going to be Culemborg. And let's say here Apeldoorn. Now the question will be, name the cities in Gelderland. So I've created a second question to my event, a second slide. If I want to see how that looks to the end user, I have a button here called Display, and it will show the map of or the image I've just uploaded with the 3 options, and a student can click on this Now I'm as a presenter, so I don't have any answer field, but students will click on the number and they will have an option to fill out the name of the city. At least they think what city that will be. Little problem with the interface is that if my screen is too small, the name or the question will be on top of the image, but I can hide the question with the hide button here. And still, there's a little problem that the Wooclap code is also on top of the image, really at the top. So be aware that if you have a hotspot on the top of your image, it might be hidden behind the code. That's a small interface bug, but we'll talk about that with Wooclap administrators. Okay, I press escape to go back, and I can also display my image here. This is the multiple choice question, and if students start answering, you will see the bar filling with the answers most people choose. And if I'm satisfied with all the answers, I can click here on the correct answer, and you see that the correct answer will be shown, and all the attendees, all my audience will know, oh, that's the correct answer, and maybe I've chosen the wrong answer. I can also switch to results and switch to a different view. Something went wrong. Okay. And here are buttons to go to previous and next, so I can loop through my presentation by clicking on these next and previous buttons. It's also very easy to reorder the order of my questions. Now I have this capital question, this multiple choice question as the first question, and the cities question as a second, but I can always easily drag and drop, and it will renumber the questions, but it's really easy to reorder the questions in the order I want to have. So I can create multiple question types in my event, and then at the end I can shuffle them in the order I really want to have it. And with each question type, I can also edit it, and you see, depending on the question type, on the right-hand side, you see specific options for that question type. So for instance, here I have this image question type with the hotspots, and it has here an option, ignore small errors. And small errors is that it doesn't matter whether people type in Lochem with a capital as a first letter or not. So it will ignore these small differences in writing. If I'm really strict and I really want them to use the capital, I really want them to type in the name that I've typed here as the answer, then I turn off the small errors. If you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section. As long as I don't see any questions come by, I assume you all understand how it works. Then there's also an option to import questions. And if I import questions, I can go to a previous previous event I've created, and I can reuse one of the questions or multiple questions I've created before So for instance, if you are giving a presentation and you want to use questions from a presentation you've used either last year or last week or sometime before, you can go to that previous presentation and select the questions you want to reuse, and you just click on import, and it will be copied into your current presentation. And now you can either edit that question. So here I have what is my favorite food, but I can also say what is my favorite drink. And then it will be altered. It will be changed within my current presentation. If I go to the original question, then the original question is still there as it is. So I can easily reuse questions from previous presentations and change it for the suit for the need of my current presentation. Also, you have here, besides on the right-hand side of each question, you have an option to duplicate a question. So for instance, in your current event, you have created a question with an image or with questions and answers you really want to reuse, but maybe slightly alter the answer options or maybe slightly alter the question. You can duplicate the question and then you can edit the duplicate. If people have already answered the question and you want to start over, so you want to reuse this presentation for a second class you're giving, but you don't want to see the answers, or you want to set the answers back to 0, you can click here on reset, and then you can reset the answers given on that specific questions. If you want to reset all the answers given for the complete presentation, so you want to start blank, then you go here to the settings of your presentation, and down below there is also a reset button, and the reset will clear all the answers in your complete presentation. You will get a warning. Are you sure to do this? So you will lose everything people answered before, but if you're sure, you can press reset. If you're not sure, or you want to reuse this event as a whole, then you can say, okay, duplicate this event, and it will copy the event and the questions. So you have the original event with the original answers, and you will have a duplicate which you can use as a blank presentation. In the presentation, there's also an option for authentication that you might use if you want to use this event only for people who have a Wooclap account. In general, teachers of the Radboud University will have a Wooclap account. Students will also be able to go to Wooclap and create a Wooclap account, but you shouldn't rely on that. If you want to use this authentication, you can use it, for instance, if you want a presentation that's super secret and you only want to use it amongst your own colleagues. You also have here an option, participant's username. That is, if you want to create a presentation where you want the names of the students, when they open the presentation on their phone or on their laptop, they will be asked to add their name, so you can see who's in the audience, and the results will be shown on the screen as well. By default, the results are visible. That is, for instance, if you have the multiple choice question about what is the capital of Gelderland, students will start responding, and the horizontal bar will start filling with the answers of the students, the answers students are giving. But most of the times you would like the answers to be hidden just till the end of your voting time, because you don't want the students to be influenced by the answers given by other students. And here you have an option to hide the results. So students will see a blank bar until you close the voting and you decide to show what answers students are giving, and you can also show the correct answer. There's also a competition mode, and it will you can use it if you want sort of Kahoot function. So who is going to be the winner, who is going to answer the questions the fastest. And here below, you have an option for a report. So if your presentation is finished, you can open a report, and it will you will be able to download a PDF or an Excel with all the answers given by all the users in your system. Well, this presentation is fresh, so nobody answered it yet. But if I go to this presentation here, the one I've started with, I can show a report. And here I see the answers people have given and my word cloud. And I see here the answers on my question of Mentimeter. So is everything clear up to now? I can't hear you, but if you have any questions, please ask them in the Q&A section. I see some thumbs up coming by. Here in the top right-hand corner, you also see an option to add a presentation. And add a presentation will allow you to import either a PDF, a PowerPoint, or a Apple Keynote file. And each slide in your PowerPoint or your Keynote file will be converted to an image and will be shown. You can show that within your Wooclap event. But I recommend not to use this if you want to combine a PowerPoint and Wooclap, because you will lose all your animation. It's better to go to PowerPoint itself, and there will be a Wooclap plugin available for PowerPoint, and you will be able to add Wooclap questions into your PowerPoint presentation. Peter, will you be able to share your screen? Maybe yes. You can you show how it works, because it doesn't work yet on my computer?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Let me check. Share screen.
Just one moment. I have to stop sharing, I think.
I don't think so. You see it right here?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's in Dutch, but yeah, that really doesn't matter. Let me check. It was in the invoegen. Yes, that was it. There's a button here, mijn invoegtoepassingen, but it's called differently in English, of course. And if I click here, then there's the Wooclap plugin, and I can add it, and there it is. You can do whatever you want with it, of course. Start button, and then I can log in. I will not do that right now, but yeah, it basically works like a charm. But the thing is, it doesn't work everywhere. For example, Steven has a Mac, and it will not work for Mac right now, but we're working on that.
Yes.
So this will be available for everybody with a Microsoft 365 account. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not available yet, but it will be available quite soon.
Yeah,
and to give a little bit more explanation, what will happen, it will connect to your Wooclap account. And once you've logged into your Wooclap account from PowerPoint, it will show all the events you've created in Wooclap, and you will be able to select questions from your event and insert that within your PowerPoint presentation. So you can create a PowerPoint presentation like you normally would, and at certain points in your presentation, you will be able to insert a Wooclap question where students will be able to respond, and then you can continue with your presentation, and further on, you can add more questions in your PowerPoint presentation. It's really neat if you give a large PowerPoint presentation, and at certain moments within your talk, you want to ask response from your audience. That's a neat way to combine PowerPoint and Wooclap. Let's see. I'm going back to my own presentation and see if I've covered a lot of things. So I've been talking about accounts, about creating presentations, collaboration. I will talk about that. I've shown you a bit about the reports. So just to recap, so how do you get a Wooclap account? It's really easy. Just go to wooclap.com, log in with your institution, Radboud institution. It will connect with SurfConnect, and you just log in with your RU Surf Connect account, just like you use it with Brightspace and other external tools. So I've shown you how to create an event. So an event has a title. By default, it has a new presentation as a title, but you can create your own title. It automatically generates an event code consisting of a string of letters, but you can create your own event code, which will be easier to remember for your students or for your audience. There are several settings with the event, so you can have settings for the event as a whole. Like I've shown you, you can set to show the response or not. Within an event, you create questions and you can create slides. So there are 19 different types of slides, and Wooclap is developing their software, so there will be more slides available, I assume, the next months or years. Each question has its own settings on the right-hand side, so be sure to look at those settings if you want something specific for your question type. You can reuse and import questions from previous events. So if you've created a really super neat question from in a previous event and you want to reuse it, it's really easy to import that. When you start a presentation, be sure to always add the default "How do I participate" slide. That is the first slide with the QR code and the code of your event. Otherwise, people won't know where to go to. And then from your event edit screen, you press on one of the blue display buttons, and it will start your presentation. And as I've shown you, you can hide the answers, and you can hide the correct answers and show the correct answers. Now, one thing I didn't show you yet, that is there's an option to collaborate. So you can create an event, but you want to share it with a colleague. And Wooclap has an option to invite a colleague to collaborate on your event. I'll switch over to my event here. So I have this event I've just created today. And I want to invite Peter to share, to work together with me. And I can click here on share. And then I have a pop-up screen with 2 tabs. And the second tab is invite collaborators. And I can add Peter. Is it like this, Peter?
Sorry, I'm answering the questions in the Q&A.
Sorry.
Did you share something with me?
Oh, I did. Oh, sorry, I didn't share my screen.
No,
sorry.
No.
Because you shared your screen. So I was showing people how I would be able to share my presentation with you. So I click on the share button, and then I have the invite collaborators tab, and I can add the email address as known by Wooclap. And I can send Peter an invite. And now Peter is also allowed to add and questions and edit my event. I cannot just randomly send an invite to someone that is outside of our organization. For instance, if I want to send it to myself privately, then it says, no, that's not possible because we don't recognize any user with that email address. So you can only share with the people within your own organization. But it's a really nice way of sharing and working together, collaborating together in a presentation. Or for instance, if you created a great presentation and one of your colleagues wants to use it in his class as well, well, you can, in this way, you can share it with the colleague, and then the colleague would be able to create a copy and use it, or maybe use the same presentation.
Steven, I got a question. Somebody says it looks friendly. We've seen 3 different options, but there are 19. What are your favorite tools options?
Oh, there's so many options. I haven't tried all of them yet. So mainly you will use multiple choice or polls or word clouds, but really neat options are the label imaging, label an image like I've showed you. You upload an image and you mark certain spots, and they have to label those spots. Or find an image, you can upload an image and they have to click on a spot on. So you can use that, for instance, for medical purposes or biological purposes, and they have to find something on a screen. There are a lot of options, sorting options, and script coordinates test. I'm not so familiar with that, but someone I showed it yesterday was very excited about this option. So I can't say which is my favorite. Do you have a favorite, Peter?
Nah, the word cloud maybe.
Yeah. And here's also an option that's called timer, because most of the options are questions where people respond. But for instance, the timer will just show a timer on a screen and it will count down. And you can use that, for instance, if you want to take a break and you say, we'll take a 10-minute break. And then you can show a timer on the screen where the timer will count down from 10 minutes to 0. And then people know, oh, I have to hurry to get back in time. And there's also a slide option. Then you can create, just like in PowerPoint, you can create a slide. I will show you that also because it has an option to add an image and a slide title. And you can even do formatting, but you have to do it formatting in a certain way. So you say, if you want to create a title, then you say hashtag with your title name, If you want to create a bold text, you say asterisk, asterisk, your text, asterisk. But that's a really neat way to insert just information slides within your presentation. Let's go back here. So collaboration. So you can invite your colleagues and your colleagues can edit. Well, we showed you the PowerPoint add-in. So you need to install it from the insert plugins. It will be available hopefully soon for everybody. And with the plugin, you can create a PowerPoint presentation. And between your slides of your PowerPoint, you can insert Wooclap questions. And also, if you create a PowerPoint presentation, be sure to use the How Do I Participate slide. So that's the first slide where there's the QR code and the code of the Wooclap event. Now, the most asked question I've got yesterday was, how do I migrate from Mentimeter? So all of you have been using Mentimeter, and some of you have been using Mentimeter a lot. And you might be wondering, is there an option to migrate from Mentimeter to Wooclap? Well, the unfortunate answer is you have to copy paste. The point is, Wooclap does have some sort of an import option. It can import certain, I think it's CSV file or certain type of file. It can even import questions you have created within a Brightspace quiz or a Brightspace survey. But the problem is Mentimeter doesn't have any export options. Within Mentimeter, you can only export to PDF, or you can export the results of your questions, the results of your presentations, but there's no option in Mentimeter to export your current Mentimeter presentations, your current Mentimeter events. So there is no way to convert Mentimeter to Wooclap other than opening your Mentimeter presentation, copying your questions, and pasting them into a new Wooclap event. But fortunately, we have a small solution and help for you. We have 2 students that will be assisting you if you need any help. So you can send an email to wooclap@ru.nl and you can ask for help, and you can schedule a meeting with one of the 2 students we have, and they will be able to take some work out of hand from you, and they will do the copy and paste if you need any assistance. The students will be here till end of August, beginning of September. So if you need any help, be sure to be there in time, and they can assist you. So, are there any questions? Peter, you saw the Q&A?
Yeah, I've been
Yes.
answering some questions also about the Mentimeter transfer. I've put in 2 links in the Q&A comments. So
okay,
if somebody wants to know more about that,
yeah,
go to the webpage.
Yeah, there is a web page on the teacher website of the Radboud University, and we are working on a small documentation for Wooclap that will be available beginning of next week. But it's a really brief, compact manual, because Wooclap itself has really good manuals on their website. So mainly we will point you to the correct pages on the Wooclap website. Are there any more questions? I'm looking at the Q&A with one eye. So if there aren't any questions anymore, I would like to thank you for participating, for joining in this presentation. We've made a recording of this. We will make this available if you want to review the presentation again, or want to share that with colleagues who couldn't attend today. And we will send you the link as soon as it is available. So thank you for joining and hope to see you soon.